In this problem we're being asked what is the slope of the tangent line to y equals negative 1 over 4x squared at x equals 1/4. And we know from our study of limits that the slope of the tangent line is always equal to the limit as h approaches 0, and h is the distance between two x values, two given points, of f of a plus h, where a is the x value at which we're looking, minus f of a over h, right? And this is just the slope formula. And the issue with this particular problem becomes the algebra. So we have the limit as h goes to 0. A in this case is 1/4, so we'll have negative 1 over 4 times 1/4 plus h squared minus f of a, which is negative 1 over 4 times 1/4 squared, and this whole thing is over h. And some of the issues just come down to experience and knowing how some things need to work out. If we're going to be able to find the limit, eventually we're going to have to be able to divide out this h. So I'm going to focus on the numerator. And right now what I see is there are two fractions, and to add them together I need a common denominator. So the first fraction needs to be multiplied by 1/4 squared, numerator and denominator. The second fraction needs to be multiplied by 1/4 plus h squared. This whole thing is still all over h. Remember to do the same thing in the numerator, right? Because we've been getting common denominators for a long time, and still this thing is a mess. But now at least we can combine them. I'm going to write this as 1/4 plus h squared minus 1/4 squared. So I use the commutative property in the numerator just to change the order, over my common denominator. All over h. And now I'm just cleaning up. I'm going to leave the denominator alone, but the numerator I need to expand, and the numerator becomes 1/16 plus 1/2 h plus h squared minus 1/16 over this. And again, there's no real benefit to me multiplying this out. And I know this because I'm going to need to divide everything by h, and that's going to have to come out of the numerator, right? Because dividing by h is the same as multiplying by 1 over h. So now I have the limit as h goes to 0, and conveniently the 1/16 subtract out, so my numerator is 1/2 h plus h squared, and I'm pretty happy because I can see that 1 over h will divide out of that. And then I will be able to simplify this limit. So when the h's divide out, I'm left with 1/2 plus h. Oops, I forgot the limit. So this is still the limit as h goes to 0. Let me just erase that. That's pretty bad. So the limit as h goes to 0 of 1/2 plus h over 4 times 1/4 squared plus, or times 1/4 plus h squared. And now I've simplified it in such a way that I can actually substitute in 0. When I do that, my numerator is just 1/2. Right now I can actually take the limit. My denominator becomes 4 times 1/16, because that's 1/4 squared, times another 1/4 squared, which means with 1/2 over 1/64, which equals 32. This allows me to conclude that the slope of the tangent line of y equals -1 over 4x squared at x equals 1/4, so at that particular point, is 32. And notice the issue is the algebra here, and just how do you clean this up.